Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Video Games, back with another cool arcade game that we're videotaping for you, or digital taping for you. We don't use, well, actually I did it wrong. Digitally video recording for you. We don't use tape anymore, right? This is Stern's 1979 Trident pinball machine. This is one you don't see too often anymore, and we figured we'd show it off. We bought this thing and it was in kind of rough shape. Looked like it hadn't worked in a long time. And so we went through it, got everything how it ought to be, or as close to it as we could. And this is the results. This came out in 1979. I like the artwork on it. It's kind of cheesy, but looks cool. So on the side you got a guy with a trident in his hand, and he's fighting off like an octopus or something. This is all just stenciled, spray painted on. And there's the top. I have no clue what that is. I guess that's like an eye. I think that, oh yeah, I think that's, no, that's the mouth. Yeah, I see it. So that's the eye, and that's the mouth, and there's like a beak, and that's the tongue, which is this guy on the playfield. So that was their best approximation of that. And this side, of course, is a mirror of it. Very simple art, but effective. I like the color scheme too. And then here is the back glass. Check that out. Very weird back glass. So basically this guy, who I guess may be Poseidon, maybe. See the mirrored part? It's hard for them to reproduce that anymore. The little, like certain parts of it are reflective. New back glasses usually don't have that. They just, everything's painted. There's no part of it's an actual mirror, but this is part of it's a mirror. Pretty cool. Trident by Stern. This was again 1979. So here's this guy. Check out his face. So it's kind of gives you the, you know, view that maybe he's drowning, or at least he's in a fight for his life. So in this hand he's got one of the tentacles grabbed, and then there's a shark over here, the one player up. There's a shark over here, 2-player. Shark down here, 3-player. Shark down here, 4-player. And so one of the tentacles is around his neck. One of the tentacles is around this arm, so he can't use his trident. And then here's the bad guy. So I think the back glass is pretty cool. This one's not in perfect shape, but it still presents pretty good. I don't think they make a reproduction of this. These Stern games, usually they only made about 2,500 of each one of them, so they're not really rare because they're not super desirable, but they're you just don't see them too often usually. And the Stern games, of course, were they used all the same boards, or most of the same boards, as the Bally pinball machines that were out at the time. So here's the artwork on the playfield. The plastics have little sharks on them. Same kind of interesting color scheme. That pink is not faded if you look over here. I don't know how well that'll show up on the camera, but there's red tentacles and then pink is the background, so that's how they actually intended it to look like that. And then you got the guy over here fighting the monster off as well, and then over here the guy's fighting the monster off. Cool little spinners. We got new pop bumper caps. They were out of the ones that went for this. The ones that went for this were real similar, except instead of a star there was a little trident, but nobody's got those available right now. Then you've got this little fan of stand-up targets up here with another guy getting choked. And then over here you got the bad guy on it, and there's 5 of the Stern memory drop targets, they called them. These drop targets are really cool. They can reset all of them, and then Stern could knock each one of them down by itself. It had like a little coil on the back that could control them, which is really neat. Most games that it can just reset all the drop targets and then you knock them down with the ball, but on this one you can either knock them down with the ball, or Stern could knock them down if you hit another switch, or in the gameplay it can knock it down without anything actually physically hitting it. And there's a little saucer at the top. A lot of these early solid state games had a saucer right there. So we'll read the instructions real quick. Instructions: pop bumper, score 1,000 points. Drop target, score 500. The first time you down lights 2 times, second time's down lights 3 times, third time's down lights 4 times, the fourth time down lights 5 times, fifth time down scores special. And the special you could set could either be points or extra ball or a free game. Eject pocket value advanced by the drop target. That's the eject pocket up there. Saucer. Boom. Stationary targets score 1,000 and advance the bonus. So that's this nice little fan of them right there. The drop target just beats the crap out of them while it's going on, so you get a lot of increase on your bonus ladder here. All right. Spotting all 5 lights the extra ball lane. Second time around scores the special. So if you hit all 5 of those targets, it lights up the extra ball when lit in lane here that you go down a lot, actually. So that would be an easy extra ball to get, probably. Extra ball lane scores 1 extra ball when lit. Maximum 1 extra ball per ball in play. Spinners score the indicated value increased by spotting targets. Star rollover score is 100 and increases the left lane value. So this is the star rollover over here. It's a star that you roll over. Left lane scores the indicated value. This is a cool thing over here. If the ball goes down this left lane, you can't lose it. It always comes out on the flipper, which is pretty cool. Sometimes you can actually hit it where the ball will go back up the lane and come out back out into the playfield. So it's really cool. The only way you can lose the ball is here and over here on the right. All right, bottom special lane lights after lighting 4 times. The bottom special lane, they're talking about this one. Boom, boom, boom. Special score is 1 replay. Tilt disqualifies the ball in play only. An interesting thing that Stern was doing at this time was this little thing. This says play more. This is called the play more post. All it is a little post, and there's one here between the flippers. And they actually advertise that as like a play feature. So basically, if the ball's going right down the middle, you can bounce it off the post. Everybody's seen those. This one over here is kind of interesting though, because if the ball goes out the out lane, if you nudge it just right, or if you just let it sit there, sometimes it'll hit that and then bounce back up through this, just like it says, into the in lane, and it'll save the ball. That actually happens a lot, so it's pretty cool. So that is Stern's Trident from 1979. This also had Stern's early soundboard that was in like Dracula and Nugent and a couple of those early ones like that. So you'll hear that whenever I play it a little bit. And I will set up the tripod and we'll see what it plays like. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have set up the camera on the old Trident by Stern. And it's got a little bit of a light show, but not much by this time. This was still in the, I think it was still in the 70s, so it doesn't have too much going on as far as like the attract lights and things, but they're kind of showing off, making each one light up and the bonus ladder go up and down. So basically, if you can tell, it's kind of hard to see, but if you can tell 2 of the drop targets are up, that's because that's how it resets it each time. It puts up the second one and the fourth one. And if you hit those go down, and then 1, 3, and 5 comes up. So basically this game is all about trying to make a bunch of those as much as you can, and then these stand-up targets over here will increase your bonus ladder, which is, you know, it's all about getting the highest possible score. So we will play through it a little bit. I cranked up the sound pretty loud, and this is Stern's early soundboard. So it's very simplistic tones. If you remember the Nugent one that we filmed, if you haven't watched that video, you might want to go watch it. It's kind of a cool little game. The tone was a little bit different on that one, but there are these knobs on the soundboard that you can change the frequency of the tone, so you can make it more high-pitched or more low-pitched. You can actually kind of tune it almost like you would tune a piano or something. So on this one, we just left it alone because we would assume that maybe this is how it sounded originally, that this is the actual correct tone and notes and things like that. But who's to say, you know, unless you found an old video of someone playing it early, it'd be hard to tell if the knobs are turned to the correct position to make the notes right. So we just left it how it was. So it's a lot lower on this one than it was on Nugent. The tones are actually like a lower note. And then also sometimes you'll hear a tone and it'll just keep going and keep going and keep going, and it'll sound like it's stuck or something, but it's not. It's It's just they play a note for each point that you make, and on sometimes if you hit a certain thing, it racks the points up for a while, and so it just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. So here we go. We'll play through it just a little bit, and again, I'm just going to hit a lot of the targets up top. Oh, that loud knock that you heard, crack, that was the knocker. That means you won a free game, and it was designed like that. I'm sure everybody that's old enough knows this, but it was designed so that everybody in the arcade could hear that you just won a free game because you're the man or the woman, as the case may be. The reason you heard it so early in the game is because on the early Bally's and the early Sterns, there was no setting for free play because they didn't even conceive of that there would ever be a time when you would actually want people to play the game for free. These things were designed to make money. So a little trick you can do is you can set the replay score at like 10,000 points. I think it's the lowest you can set it. And so every time you get to 10,000 points, you win a free game, which means you never run out of credits because you get 10,000 points every game. So it's just an easy way to make it free play. I love how the spinners, whenever they really get going, you can see a little artwork, you know, spinning around. Makes it 3D. See? Very cool. Oh, some of them were really creative. Well, about lost it. Oh, got a good bonus though. So that's 86,000 points. Let's see if we can do better than that. That's the right slingshot sticking a little bit. Oh, that's why it's. They call that machine gunning. It's going because it's a little bit too close to the rubber. Yeah. I love when they get stuck like that where they just keep making you points. Bloop. Oh, I lost it. And the play more button, or the play more post didn't help me. Remember, there's this little post over here that if it goes just right, it'll bounce right there back up into the end lane. And it does actually do that from time to time. Ooh, little glass action. That scares people a lot whenever the ball hits the glass, but I've never heard of the pinball actually breaking the glass on you, so it just frightens you a little bit, but I don't think it actually does anything. It's more likely to just put a scratch on the glass. Love that left lane because you can't lose the ball. It just feeds the flipper. I love it. Yeah. Beat up those targets. Well, that was messed up. Do you see how it hit the post and kind of threw it out a little bit so that it went right down the middle? I ought to move that post a little bit. Horrible. the double. I got it on 2 times. Oh, my play more post there didn't help me. But that's a little better, so I got 91,000 that time. Not bad. Now I want you to look at how nice that thing looks lit up. Look at that. Well, they really knew how to do them back then. I mean, look at that. That's awesome. And it's just a nonsense theme, really. Trident. And it's just something that they thought up. It's not licensed or anything. But look at that. That really looks cool. Now this back glass is a little bit weak. The paint's starting to fade in some areas where there's a little bit too much light coming through it. But it still looks presentable. Still looks pretty good. We haven't done anything to it. That's just exactly how it was. But man, what a cool old game. It's nothing, you know, it's not the most collectible one around. You're not going to hear people fighting for it or anything. But it's fun to play. It's got cool sounds and it looks great in my opinion. And best of all, this thing was designed to entertain people. You know, and here it is nearly 40 years later and it's still doing its job. It's still on the job helping people have fun. That's what I like about them most. So there you go. This is Stern's Trident. You don't see these too often. Now by the time you see this video, Mr. Trident may have swam onto someone else's home. It may not even be here anymore. So if you're looking to buy it, sorry, it may already be gone. But if you'll check out our website, you can see what we actually have in stock right now. And maybe he will still be here. Who knows? I guess it depends on how quick you are. So if you're looking to buy a game, no matter when you see this video, even if it's years and years from now, just check out our website, lionsarcade.com, or you can stop by our shop. We're in downtown Rock Hill, South Carolina, which is about 15 minutes south of Charlotte, North Carolina. And we've got a whole building full of arcade games and pinball machines that we're working on. And every time we get one done, we'll film a little video of it like this, if it's a cool game, if we deem it worthy. So if you're not looking for a game or you're not in the area, just subscribe to us here on YouTube. We'll be filming everything we get in that's really cool, and this one is certainly really cool. We will see you next video.